What's up, y'all? Kofi Kingston here, and I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks, depending on what that drink is, preferably non-alcoholic, you know?
How's it going? The Celtic Warriors game is...
Soda.
I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
Maple syrup.
Fella.
I would never have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
Welcome to the sidebar of the IWC. Welcome to Wrestling on the Rocks again. Thank you, Marv. With me today for another drink. Hold on, how do we got Bishop.
Yes, I am here.
What's
up, dude?
How you doing, Bishop? Always a joy to have Marv opening the show. He's a good opener. He sets the tone, you know.
Absolutely.
He's a good guy. Good guy. Bishop, I'm feeling a little drafty. I'm gonna have a little coffee. That's what's in my glass today. What are you having today? What's in your glass?
Well, to celebrate someone's birthday, yesterday The Rock turned however old. I have a little Zoe and some Terramana, and I will make some rock juice.
A little rock nectar.
Cheers.
Yeah. I was going to get some Terramana too for the birthday because Amanda told me last week it's just the birthday. She said the rocks was coming up. So I was like, oh, I better get Terramana. Did not do that.
Dude, so alcoholics as we speak, it's usually like $30 a bottle for the Blanco. I went to Sam's Club and they had it for $26 a bottle. So I bought a case.
All right.
Yeah.
Because then you get a couple free bottles.
Exactly. It was nice.
Yeah, not bad. Not bad at all. Hey,
Cheers. Thanks for having me on, man.
Yeah, I didn't have you last week. I had Digi. It was nice to hear from Digi for a minute. He likes to come through and hang. But it's getting drafty in here, and I thought that who better to have a draft with than Bishop? The funk.
Let's do it.
But yeah, I want to talk to you about a couple of things.
Okay.
Because for one, the draft already kind of drags ass if big stuff's not happening. And there were legitimately, as we get into it, no big moves. A lot of little moves, no big ones. So it was just kind of like feels a lot like they're in like I would say a holding pattern, but I feel like this is slower than that. It feels like they're just running the clock until Backlash. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, you're saying no big moves, as in like storyline people, not moves from brand to brand.
Yeah, no big brand to brand moves.
Okay.
Yeah, like when you look at it, all the main people who've been the main people on their shows are remaining exactly where they were. Outside of, if you wanted to make the argument, Rhea and Bianca. However, Rhea's been on Raw a lot.
Yeah.
And so that doesn't feel any different. And Bianca, look, I've been putting over Bianca for a long time. I love her. I think she's got amazing matches, amazing charisma. She's not near the top of the card right now. She just hasn't been. They've just been putting other stuff above her, you know? So,
Well, actually, to your point, Rhea was basically Raw exclusive until the Raw Rumble.
Mhm.
And then she took on Charlotte. And like you said, since Mania, the whole build to Mania and since Mania, she's been on Raw and SmackDown.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so all it's going to do is give Bianca more space, which is good. But I don't know if I don't know that I would say that's a massive move. You know what I mean? But it's the closest you got to a massive move. But we're going to dig into that a little bit more. I want to tell you about something I saw online that cracked me up because of this weird argument and mentality people are having about this shirt that AEW made. They've made a bunch of really bad shirts lately, and they even did 3 or 4 shirts with AI art, so they could cut out the middleman of having to pay someone to commission. Which, by the way, a lot of the ones that I see the artists do, from my understanding, they're not getting commissions. They're just like, "Hey, will you draw me a shirt?" And they say, "Okay." So like,
Oh, wow.
they're already not doing it anyways. So far as I can tell, it's already kind of a shit show over there.
Yeah.
But they released that shirt with Britt Baker with a black eye, with a white wall behind her and a mopey face. And people started saying that this shirt promotes domestic violence because clearly out of context, it looks really bad because of the nature of the shirt. And then her argument was, does any shirt with blood on it promote murder? Which is not really an argument. It's more of like, I don't know. She wouldn't do well in debate. I'll say that. It's not the topic. You know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
obviously it does not promote domestic violence. It doesn't say anything, right? Obviously the other ones don't promote murder, but the bloody ones that everyone's referencing are pictures of people in rings. I know people were bringing up the Becky Lynch thing where she's smirking in a SmackDown shirt in a SmackDown arena. Even the bloody Britt Baker shirt says Britt Baker DMD role model. She's smiling with blood going down her face in a ring that you can see. Like there's context provided on the shirt. And I think that that's just as simple as that gets. And I think you put a picture of Britt Baker with the bloody face, the one that they use. You put that picture with her in a black eye and the Rihanna picture with her with a black eye. And you say, which one of these is different than the other? They're not going to say the Rihanna picture. You know what I mean?
Right.
It doesn't say that it promotes it, but it doesn't say anything at all. And before I let you talk about it, I think the only actual argument that needs to be made at all is just don't buy the shirt. Like, I don't understand the back and forth. Do you think Tony Khan or anyone there gives a fuck what any of us think? No. What do you think the only thing you need to know? Did it make money?
Right.
If you're not sure, don't buy the shirt, and then that's it. That's the end of the argument. Oh, they made a shirt I don't like? Well, I'm not going to buy it. Oh, out of context, that'd be terrible. I'll never be able to explain that. I won't buy it. I never bought the man shirt. Massive Becky fan. I never bought a shirt that just said the man because I knew, contextually speaking, best case people think that I'm joking that I'm so tough or something. You know what I mean? That I knew it'd be a conversation that didn't look right, didn't feel right. The only the man shirt I have is the one that has Becky's picture front and center because I went, that has context. She's the man because she's badass. And that's a conversation I'm more willing to have than, oh, you think you're the man? No. I think Becky Lynch is the man. Who's Becky Lynch? You know what I mean? Like, I didn't want that conversation. So if you're not looking for the conversation on the street, A, don't wear it. But B, more importantly, don't buy it. If you don't buy it, they won't make more shirts like that. That's it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand the big back and forth about it. I don't know. What did you think about it when you saw it?
Quick cheers to Justin for popping through on the YouTubes.
Cheers to Justin time.
So I heard the scuttlebutt before I saw it.
Yeah.
And when I saw it, I quote tweeted it and go, "Oh, I see why people think this suggests promotes domestic violence, because it's in that pose of, you know, when victims show their proof."
Yep.
And AEW will forever be the place of tone deaf. This is what they do. They stick to their guns on what it is that they choose their narrative is. And instead of reading the room or recalculating, they go with tone deaf. Like, remember when Big Swole was released and Tony named all his black and brown friends as an excuse as to why it wasn't the way Swole said it?
Mm-hmm.
When he could have just apologized. But not only did he name his black and brown friends, he also said she was a terrible performer. You know, like it's there's couth in the world. There's a way to read the room, and AEW doesn't do that. And so when I saw this, it felt so typical, and I just left it at that. I wasn't going to make any other comments. But yeah, I mean, when there's victims of domestic violence and they show their proof, it looks just like that fucking picture. And it's a shame. So it not only, I would say that it doesn't promote it or support it, it belittles it.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't show companionship or compassion for those who have had to take those pictures. You know, like there is a way to show couth, to have an understanding that, oh, we apologize for the optics that this shirt created, instead of doubling down. You know, they that tone deafness will always be associated with AEW.
Yeah. I mean, and it's the same thing, because she's like, oh, if this was a picture of a man with a black eye, would everyone think it's domestic violence? And they go, that's not the first people think when they see a man with a black eye. It's the first concern everyone has when they see a woman with a black eye. I'm sure she went somewhere with a black eye and people were looking and whispering because they didn't know who she was. Oh my God.
Right.
Do you think she's in trouble? Right. Especially if she's out there with Adam Cole. Do you think you know what I mean? Like, I'm sure whispers happened, and I'm sure that people actually asked her something. And she was like, oh, no, I'm a wrestler. I got it fighting. Oh, that's cool. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a professional fighter. Oh, okay, great. But those are the conversations people have. So I don't know. I just think that any form of context would have been nice on the shirt if you're going to do that. Or if she was going to do that, if she was smiling with the middle finger up.
Exactly. Or she's in her dentist gear at work, you know, saying that she can persevere. She's so tough. She's moving to the next task of her life, which is her dental practice. You know, there's a way to show your strength with that black eye. But no, the picture was taken as a victim.
Yeah. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, I don't think it matters who's having what conversations about it. Just don't buy it. That's it.
Well, and that's the other thing too, right? The stands and the throaters and all that stuff, they'll say, oh, well, this is exactly what they wanted. They wanted people to talk about it, and all publicity is good publicity and all that shit. Is it though? Like, again, there's optics here, man. And to your point, they just don't buy it. I'm fully in support of that. We actually talked about it, about the Becky Lynch situation, because we're both massive Becky fans. I could not buy a shirt that said Last Kicker on it.
Oh, yeah.
That's just not a thing a guy should wear. And I want to support Becky. So I have one that says Relentless, and I do have 2 The Man shirts. And I always phrase it with, no, Becky's the man. I'm not the man. It's Becky, you know? And I'm proud of I'm proud to buy that shirt because of the story behind it. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. I ended up getting The Man has come back to Vegas or whatever. The Man is in Vegas. I forget how it was worded. But when she was doing those ones with the city, I got that one. And so when I go to Vegas, I wear it because it also is a little tongue in cheek in there. Even where someone sees it, they're like, that's right, because everyone's the man here. You know what I mean? Like, everyone feels that way. So there's no context. There's no weird conversation to have.
Yeah.
Although I have an Andy Kaufman shirt that is the shirt he wore when, well, not like the shirt, but it was the dime um, that he wore when he was the intergender champion that said Women's World Wrestling Champion. And I wore that walking around in Vegas. And it was the first time that I've ever worn it that I realized I need to be careful where I wear it. Because there was some real jockish dudes who were all like, right on, man, however you identify, right? And I was all like, oh, that's not the joke I was making. This was a
Right.
reference to a wrestler. But at the same time, the comedian, wrestler, performer, whatever, died in the 80s. Digi coming through. Cheers to Digi.
Cheers.
But yeah, it was one of those things too, where now I am very, very aware of when and where I wear that shirt, because it's one of those things where you go, oh, out of context, and with context around me in the world that is just existing, I don't get to just pretend it's something that it's not, or I don't get to decide how someone's going to translate it. I need to be aware of what I'm presenting to people in a world where they are translating on their own based off of their lives. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm definitely not for, pacifying everyone's emotion for every situation. But again, reading the room and taking note of, scuttlebutt, if you will, to adjust the route and direction you're going, like that can happen here. Like you said, like you're going to be aware of where you wear that shirt. AEW can do the same thing with this shirt. They can adjust it, like you said. There's got to be a picture of her with a black eye in the ring, a black, getting ready for her next fight. Imagine that. She's lacing up her boots with the black eye. Like isn't that a more powerful picture that allows them to read the room? Because if there's only a small certain scenarios when everyone is telling you that a thing is a certain way, that they're wrong. You know what I mean? Like, if a lot of people are saying that it promotes domestic violence or it evokes the thought of domestic violence, like there's a chance that a lot of times they could be wrong. But in this case, they may be right. And if there is that chance that they are right, then you should have an open mind at least to go, and maybe we did the wrong thing here.
What if it just said Britt Baker, women's wrestler,
right
on it, and then someone would go, "Oh shit, women go hard in AEW."
Right.
You don't see, you know what I mean? Like,
what if that's what it said? Women go hard in AEW. Like,
yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I thought it was funny, and what to me, what made it the most funny is that the only like you said, trending anything, positive or negative, it does not affect the decisions. Trending at all is what it does. Oh, we made the right decision because now we're trending. Now there's a lot of people talking about it. That's the right decision, regardless if it's positive or negative. That's a very real mentality because that's where the money is. But more importantly, if everyone just didn't say anything, ignored it, and didn't buy it, they would never have. They would never make another one, and they would have said, maybe we shouldn't have made that. Like, it got no reaction and nobody liked it. You know what I mean? No one bought it, and then that would have been it. You know what I mean? But just business, I guess. Let's talk some draft. I don't have any of the new stuff. Did you? Trinity's and Impact. We're going to talk about that tomorrow.
Yeah, and best wishes to Carmella and Corey.
Yeah. Cheers to Carmella and Corey.
Yeah. Cheers to them. They announced pregnancy. So fingers crossed and best wishes. Hopefully, their life plan works out. For sure.
Also, I mean, huge positive feeling just seeing it, for one, because she's been very open about her pregnancy issues, but for two, she started that whole thing with Chelsea Green we thought was awesome, and all of a sudden she was just dropped from it. It was very frustrating to not see or hear from her on TV for a few months and just be like, what's going on? The answers all that in a way that is very nice. You know what I mean? Answers it in the best possible way. This is amazing.
And I would think because she had struggles with pregnancy before that, they waited long enough to feel confident that, things are going to go well this time. So that got me excited. That made me. I watched. I don't know if you saw the video that went on Twitter of her announcing it. to
Yeah.
Corey's children. Yeah, her stepchildren. I thought it was beautiful. Yeah, and if she was willing to go this route, I'm sure, I'm certain that they're positive that it's going to go well this time, and hopefully it does. So, cheers to them.
Yeah, absolutely. And there was all the kids were crying because they've been going through all that shit, man. So awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, let's talk the draft and backlash, because I'm gonna be honest with you, WWE feels like they're just taking a knee every day since Mania. Like nothing's moving forward. I do think that it's just with as good as Usos versus Kevin and Sammy was, WrestleMania Backlash is designed to do the rematches on the matches that happened at WrestleMania. That's why it's called WrestleMania Backlash. So what they did was they put the rematch with the championship titles on the line on SmackDown, so they could put the Usos and Solo against Matt Riddle and Sammy and KO. Like, why wasn't that match on SmackDown and the rematch on Backlash? Like, that
Right.
feels so ass backwards. Does that mean Roman showing up and attacking Riddle or some shit?
I don't know. That's fantasy booking.
So is that what that means then? Roman showing up? I don't think he is. I don't think you put Roman there. I don't understand why you would waste the doubling down a week before. If it's that close, do the triple threat first and then the other one. You know what I mean?
And that's what's weird to me too, because it seems like Backlash is being designed for that babyface show where it's just going to be babyface pops all night long, right? Like heels are getting zero chance at victory here. And to have more on the show, because where you thought the Bloodline story might pick up, Paul Heyman tells Solo, okay, this is your time. He goes out there and then gets attacked right away. If anything, that would bring Solo closer to the Usos, instead of further away from the Usos and tightened up to Roman's side. Now this is another person in the Bloodline that's fucked over Roman. And if that's the case, then you have more dissension or turmoil within the Usos and Solo. They're not going to be on the same page because KO, Sammy, and Riddle are now stronger. So you're building the strength of this babyface team for what? Yeah. It's really odd.
And there's still tension between Kevin and Riddle. Not that there's just Kevin's just fucking annoyed with him. You know what I mean? Like,
did you hear that? He wants to hang out all the time.
Yeah. I like the whole you left me here all night. All night. You know what I mean? But that also fits Kevin's character.
Oh, yeah.
Do things a little abruptly. But the only reason I point that out, that he did that thing that was kind of in your face and Riddle is just too dumb to notice, is that Riddle is too dumb to notice. What's the Usos' excuse? With Paul Heyman constantly saying things and then cartoonishly Johnny Gargano style staring at Solo and saying it even louder. And you're like, so are the Usos too dumb to notice? You know what I mean? Like, it's a little heavy-handed at this point. It's not where he's glancing over. At this point, he's like standing up differently, like fucking throwing his whole weight into it. You know what I mean? Digi with these terrible takes. He should have been on. He says, taking a shot. He says, sometimes controversy is not worth the cash, as it were. Yep, I agree. And he does say the Usos are like a bad ex who just overlook bad things.
What I was getting at with the Usos, where I was going to jump in,
go ahead.
It seems like they're more focused on not fucking up again, but it's not coming off well.
It's not when you have them saying that they're being ghosted and then you have Paul Heyman being so over. This is not a subtle thing.
Yeah. Is that a Paul problem? Do you think Paul's overdoing it?
Yeah.
By trying to carry it?
Yes. Paul's trying to carry this entire thing.
Yeah.
It's all on Paul, and I don't know why. And then the other thing that created is the issue where for the first time in the history of all time, Paul Heyman's had like back-to-back promos that have felt really redundant,
Flat.
really flat, going nowhere, and waste of time. Like,
Yeah.
at this point, I think he's had 3 that he's just gone on these monologues that you just go, what the fuck was that for?
Which is odd because when he first started, he was the whisper piece, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And Jay, that's where Jay became Jay, was being able to carry a lot of the promo work. That's where Roman solidified his character. So to not let these guys shine, and we don't have to name the names, but look at the talkers that are in the ring. He doesn't have to.
No. And that's just it. Is we used to talk about how amazing it was, how good these guys are, that when you have 15 minutes on TV and Paul Heyman with a mic who hands it to Roman, Jay, and Sammy, and they do the talking for the entire segment. I was like, how good are they that you don't need Paul to say a word? Now it's at a point where why is Paul saying all the words and where's everybody else? You know what I mean? It's been weird. It's been weirdly flat, and I'm glad that Sammy and KO got to do their double down and keep the title. I don't really know what's next. Because their story feels a little flat too, but I don't think it takes much for them to get going. They just got to go a different direction. I think Backlash is gonna not help with that. I think it's gonna put Riddle on the whole thing with them. But here's my hope with the draft. I'm hoping that for at least until SummerSlam, which is only like 2 months away, but it still feels like it needs to be said, that they just enforce the draft.
Yeah.
That you don't have people going back and forth. That you don't have Usos and KO and Sammy on both shows. Rhea's not on both shows. There's no reason to be mixing it up anymore. You know?
Yeah. They're enforcing the draft Monday after Backlash. So if that's the case, this is the last time the Usos and Sammy and KO are going to touch. Theoretically, forever. But just looking at that, they're the undisputed tag team champions. Night of Champions is happening as well. Does a SmackDown team go for number 1 contender? And then that's where they find the loophole to wrestle? Or are they pulling the tag teams apart so we can have tag team champions on SmackDown as well? Like, something's got to give in this moment. So what stories are they going to tell on SmackDown to revitalize the tag division?
Yep.
You know, we didn't go through the draft, but let's just for the sake of, Pretty Deadly got drafted to SmackDown.
Yep.
If Pretty Deadly, an NXT tag team from NXT UK, they've been a tag team for years. They have no other purpose than to be tag team. If you're a tag team, what's your goal?
Yeah.
To be the champs. How are you going to be the champs on SmackDown? So that they're going to have to try to tell that story. But to your point, how can they tell the stories separately but not have a championship to go for? Well, you can't be separate and go for the titles because the titles are on the other show. So, yeah, they have a lot of work to do.
They got to figure that out because also SmackDown got tag team heavy as we go, because we're not going to do like beat by beat. But when you look at SmackDown, they got the Usos. They got Pretty Deadly. They got LWO. They got Brawling Brutes, Street Profits. Yep. They got a lot of tag teams, man. They need something to do. They need a purpose, and just having fights for no reason doesn't feel like that. And so I agree. They got to figure out a way to explain.
Did you say the OC as well? They got the OC too. So if you're going to have...
Did they go SmackDown? Oh, yeah, they did.
Yeah. So if you're going to have Gallows and Anderson there too, I mean, a phenomenal fucking tag team. Look at the talent they have there. They got to figure something out.
Yep. Dude, they got to, yeah, that's my point. They got to figure out something because it's already kind of stale and you can't just have them going back and forth. I don't know, man. I don't know. And I don't think you can do it at Night of Champions because that's in Saudi Arabia. So you're not getting Sammy over there. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't know.
So maybe they split the titles and they crown a new SmackDown champion then.
They've got to like put them up.
Yeah.
You know, it'd be kind of neat if they did a ladder match and had both titles up on top, but they're separate. So you don't just grab You got to grab both. So like, hey, maybe Sammy and KO get up there and they grab the red straps, but then they're shoved off, and someone else gets up there and grab the blue ones. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I wouldn't shit on it. It'd be clunky.
It
But
would, but what it solves for me is the problem with, well, the SmackDown titles are on the line, but the Raw titles aren't. So now you just have a
oh
match
yeah,
between
yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah.
Because I don't like when they just do these one-on-one matches or whatever, or like let's say Roman theoretically, defends the Universal one night and then the WWE Championship the second night. Like, well, then he already took the loss, and that was the big deal, right?
Yeah.
I don't like seeing the champions lose and then someone gets a title shot. I don't like seeing the champions lose and then they leave with only half of their championship. Like, that's bullshit. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
so if you do a ladder match, then it's all like, well, we got these ones, we couldn't get these ones. You might still know what's going to happen, but at least there's some sort of reasoning behind it. You don't feel less than.
Right. No, that's fair.
Yeah. LA Knight versus Butch. I just like how fucking over LA Knight is. He's doing it, dude. He's crushing it.
Yeah, it's awesome.
When I was at Raw in Phoenix, I didn't even go inside. I just was walking by and you could hear the crowd try to woo, woo, woo. And every time someone did that, they would get shut down by Yaz.
That's awesome.
People love it. What do you think about Zelina versus Rhea Ripley? Because like you said, they're really building up stuff to where heels winning seems like a bad move. You've got Zelina who's representing Puerto Rico. You got Bad Bunny representing Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
Do they really give Judgment Day 2 losses there and take the title? I don't see a world where Zelina wins here, but
yeah,
Zelina has beaten Rhea Ripley in the past in some weird matches.
Yeah. When Rhea took the DDT, I think we just wanted to watch that on repeat because she's fucking amazing at that. But look, even when Zelina won Queen of the Ring, she did it against Doudrop at the time, and the match was phenomenal. So Zelina's very good at being carried through a match.
Yeah,
it's again, like I say about Bianca, that A side, when you have to carry that match, it has to look a certain way. But I don't mind Zelina's work. No, I don't think she wins. So to your point, but is Rhea really a heel? I mean, Judgment Day collectively is, but the love Rhea gets is, I mean, they could turn her over tomorrow and she'd be babyface forever. So
that's a good call.
It's what I do.
I'm just looking at the SmackDown. That's kind of all that happened on SmackDown, dude. There was like 3 matches. That and the Street Profits against Ricochet, LWO, which is fine. I barely watched it. I don't really watch Street Profits anymore at this point. Although I thought it was sick that LWO was drafted together as a unit, including Rey Mysterio. That was huge because the Bloodline was not. Judgment Day was not. LWO was.
The Bloodline was drafted as Roman, Solo, and Paul Heyman.
Okay. Do you have a lot of Bloodline T-shirts that say the Bloodline that have only them on it?
No. I get your point. I'm just saying contextually, wouldn't you want Solo as his own entity? I wasn't trying to rebuke what you said. I was just saying, like, I agree with you. LWO getting drafted with Rey is fucking awesome.
Is notable because the Bloodline started as Roman with the Usos.
Yeah.
That was the Bloodline. So for them to say, oh, now the Bloodline is without the Usos, it's like, no. I mean, became the Bloodline because of the Usos. That's what it was. It wasn't Bloodline without the Usos. Yeah. So for them to be split in the draft just made it, story driven, right? Are they going to make it on the same brand or not? And then they did. And I was like, I was really hoping they would do something with it. But they didn't split up any tag teams, dude. They didn't split up any groups, but they did draft them separately.
And they told that story going into it too. Oh, well, tag teams could be separated. And then it felt like they drafted more groups together than ever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, they just group. Because I'm looking at it, even Hit Row went free agent together.
Right.
Or no, they made it SmackDown. They made SmackDown in the end here.
But it wasn't a live draft. It was on the Peacock stuff.
Yeah. But yeah, they didn't split up anybody, and I was really hoping they would. There was a few of them I was really hoping they would, but just because I think that you need to shake it up a little bit. And this really didn't feel like a shakeup. Actually, this felt exactly like a shakeup and not like a draft. This felt like when they did the Superstar shakeup like 1 or 2 years in a row, where it was just a normal show, but then someone who used to be on SmackDown is now on Raw, and they go, "Oh shit, that's right, this person's over here now." You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
in the wild card.
Yeah, which, to be honest, if you're not going to make any major moves with anybody, just do the shakeup. It's more fun to watch a shakeup than the draft, because you have all these segments where you have people come out and read these things to say this person's staying put, this person's staying put, this person's staying put. We're bringing up one person from NXT, this person's staying put, and you go, why is this 10 minutes?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, that's my problem. Was this whole draft felt so lame because not much changed. You know what I really wanted to see in the draft, because I thought it'd be sick, and I think it ruined the draft for me. I wanted Roman on Raw. Roman's been on SmackDown for years.
Yeah.
And they just introduced this new title because people went, well, this new title is going to be for Raw because Roman's staying on SmackDown. What if the #1 draft pick was Raw picking up Roman?
Right.
And then everyone goes, wait, Roman's coming over here with these 2 titles. We have a new title for SmackDown. What happens to SmackDown then? It becomes the land of opportunity when SmackDown was arguably at its best outside of the bloodline.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. And now Raw seems like they have to like build on the fly as opposed to be the land of opportunity, because they're supposed to be the A show. When you think about wrestling, you think about Monday Night Raw. You don't necessarily, you know what I mean? So like, I can see how not having a solidified story that you're telling on Raw actually be a major detriment to what's happening on SmackDown.
Yeah. And I also think it's... Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Right. Because I also think that SmackDown's always getting more viewership than Raw. Almost always at this point. Why not take your biggest act to Raw and give it its little bump? You know?
Yeah, especially because what I was going to say ties into that pretty good. SmackDown's just a given now. And that's, that's what we're tuning in for on SmackDown, is because it's a given. So if SmackDown just happens, it's the Roman show with the awesome Roman stuff, plus this cool shit that happens underneath. Now what they tried to do, or at least it seems like they're trying to do by bringing Gunther over, bringing Ricochet and Strowman over, to get that same energy underneath of what they're trying to build on top, which is going to be that main title storyline.
Yeah. Which, to be honest, being crowned in a tournament makes sense, but is not an exciting story. Just isn't.
Because it's going to be somebody out of the land of opportunity, not someone who is the pillar of a program.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
So even then, you already have a stale championship going into it that has no history, lineage, no story into it. And then how are we going to crown it without a story? That's not to say you don't get stories in tournaments. They definitely happen. I mean, that's the whole point of all the basketball tournaments. A lot of the championships are through tournaments, baseball's through tournaments, because a story can build in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that they do a good job finding those stories within it, but you don't go in with the story, and that's the problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just doing
that's the Cruiserweight Classic, the Mae Young Classic. Like they had to let the first round flush out, the second round kind of get where it's going. Okay, now this is what we're gravitating to. This is what we're seeing. Even The Rock, his first title through the tournament, the only story was that it wasn't Stone Cold. It wasn't even about The Rock being champion. It was about fucking over Stone Cold.
Yeah. And even when 316 came about, the story really wasn't that Austin was going to go in here and take it. It was, here's a lot of people who want to be king of the ring kind of a deal. The story came after the fact.
Yeah.
So it can happen, right?
It's just, Roman too, right? Roman's first title was through that tournament, and then he got Sheamused.
Yeah.
You know, like, so the story never really is the tournament. It's what can we make happen after that?
Yeah. So I don't know. I just thought, wouldn't it be great? They move Roman to Raw, and then that new title's on SmackDown, and we can do a whole bunch of stuff. But like you said, we're doing the same old, same old. We're just waiting.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and Rhea Ripley being drafted to Raw, because I'm just looking at it now. Rhea Ripley being drafted to Raw to me was also flat, because it was all like, yeah, she's been on Raw for over a year. She only wasn't on Raw for a couple of weeks.
Yep.
So I don't know. Theory and Gunther switching spots is neat. Charlotte's not going anywhere. I guess we're gonna finally get Charlotte and Bianca. Okay. You know what I mean? So they did do some NXT drafts. They also drafted Damage Control as a single unit, which I liked, and I think putting them on SmackDown is great. Also on Raw, we crowned Bayley and Dakota Kai as tag champions, which I think is amazing. And they should be the new bloodline. Give them all the gold and let them hold it for 4 years.
Well, didn't they just win the opportunity?
No, they won the titles.
They won the titles? I thought they won. They won the match. That was for the titles?
I thought it was. Is it not?
I thought it was a number one. Now they have bragging rights to get the titles.
Where's my results here? Because I was certain that they got crowned. Oh, you're right. Non-title match. That's stupid.
And I tell you, that's my biggest pet peeve with wrestling, period. Champions wrestling non-title matches. When you're, I mean, okay, baseball's different, football's different, hockey's different, you know, all of that's different because you have a championship match, like a game, a match, a venue, whatever you have for one championship. And then you're the champ until a new one's crowned. But in boxing and MMA and all that shit, there are no non-title fights for the champion. So the fact that we have a competitive contest non-title is fucking bullshit. Champions should only ever lose when the title's on the line because champions should never fight without the title being on the line.
No, I can't imagine anyone trying to get... If Conor McGregor's your UFC champion and you're the number one contender, you're not going to go ahead and go in there and say, hey, I'll take a fight with Conor, but I don't really need that title. You know what I mean? You want to become the champion. Like, I don't understand this at all. I don't like the... I mean, even Becky said it in one of her promos how stupid it was. It makes no sense. Like having a match to determine if you get to have a match.
Right.
Like, you know?
And that should never come against the person who holds the title.
Yeah,
I've proven I can beat you,
match?
so I'll beat you again. No, you don't beat somebody twice to become the champion. You beat somebody once.
So
imagine if Cody beat Roman at WrestleMania, but it was non-title.
Yeah.
Like, what does that even mean?
Yeah. Remember when was it Lex Luger did that? Didn't he beat Yoko? But like it wasn't for the championship.
Right.
Or he cheated or something and they like went to go give it to him and they said, no. Like giving someone the win without the title is stupid. That's terrible.
Well, that's why it's bad just for what happened to you right now.
Yeah.
They beat the champions, but they're not the champions. What does that even fucking mean?
Yeah, that's stupid. Just in Time brings up a good point. Damage Control has been a bust for absolutely no reason, which is absolutely true. My biggest excitement for Damage Control moving to SmackDown was that maybe it'll be a reset where they can actually be the characters they're supposed to be. The ones who are here to take over the division and run it and fix the damage that's been done to it, right? Like they're here because it's a mess, right? They're here to bring legitimacy and prestige and all that shit, right? But if they're going to be beating the tag champions just to lose to them again later, then fuck it.
Right.
But I did think Dakota and Bayley as a tag was actually a lot cleaner than Dakota and Io.
Yep. I said the same thing. Yep. They were nice and tight together. Absolutely.
And dude, how great was that fucking tag the boot spot? Bayley's been cheating in the best ways. Last week, the camera missed it. She starts to go reach in and falls over the top. And then the camera cuts to what's happening on the outside and you see people cheating. But the camera never caught that the referee was attending to Bayley to get her out of the ring. Bayley did that to distract the ref. and made it look
Yeah.
so natural. The camera actually cut away from it. Like, how stupid is that? Like, there's more fan cams from live events of her practicing that spot than the actual time she did it on TV.
That's awesome. That's how good she is.
She is that good.
Yeah.
And then in this one, they were trying to do the tag. So they had Dakota tag Bailey's foot in the middle of the ring area. And the ref had to be like, no, you're not tagged. Get out. And then during that, Bailey starts cheating and eye raking and stuff. It was great. It felt like some real Eddie cheating kind of shit.
Well, eye rakes aren't cheating. Hogan used to eye rake all the time.
It was like an eye gouge. He did the back rake.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Which I don't fucking get, but what are you thinking about Seth Rollins right now?
He feels as if he's disinterested.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
Something's not.
Yeah.
He's definitely getting a little stale. I think he found something that was working and leaned into it so hard that he's just coasting on it. You know what I mean? I don't think that it's growing. I think it's just coasting. And so at this point, they just think it's cool that the crowd is singing, and I think that they're going to get real close to the song being more over than him before you know it.
Well, the song is the gimmick now, and I think that's what happened. He made the song popular through his character work, but now the song is the gimmick, right? Like Kurt Angle in the "You Suck," right? Like it's become the gimmick now, and that's a hard pill to swallow for a guy like Seth Rollins.
That's true. Yeah, I don't know. I still think he's amazing. I wish he wouldn't do the triple dive spot. I hate that spot. He does it like a lot of matches, and I never liked it.
Yeah.
Where he just runs back in, dives again, and it's like, well, that third one finally did it. And you're like, so the first two sucked? Like,
right.
Yeah, I don't like it, a little indie. Just in Time says, wouldn't blame Seth for being disinterested, especially having a random nothing match with Almost. I don't know what's going to go on there, but I mean, I liked the story that Seth made out of it. I'm going to give him the best match of his career, but it's a little inside baseball, you know?
Well, and that's the thing. As fans, how does that entice me? Because that's Rollins' specialty.
Yeah.
You know, like we would expect nothing less, Seth. So, you know.
But as fans or as kayfabe goes, you don't want to give someone the fight of their career. You want to win as fast as you can.
Well, and not only that, it's not like Omos has a track record of being an unstoppable force.
Or having great matches.
Right,
so
but they build him up to make him lose.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, like
so he's saying I can give you a B- and it's still gonna be pretty great for him.
Right, right.
Like,
right.
Guess. Well, I was hoping that we'd end up with Bailey and Dakota as champions, and then Io could take the title there, and you could have all the gold and run the Bloodline story again. But who knows what's gonna happen with any of that? Braun Strowman, Ricochet, Alpha Academy was cool. Cody Rhodes, Brock Lesnar. That whole spot was kind of weird too. Cody running out. Like, they're doing a lot of, I guess they're just not doing much talking. Right? So there's not, how much story is being told by having the same spot week after week? Brock turns on Cody one time, beats the shit out of him. And now Seth is so mad he's going to beat the shit out of everybody to get to Brock, but they won't let them touch. Why? You know what I mean? Because the big money match. But also, why did Brock do that? Well, Brock hasn't said a word. He's just coming out in a duster now.
Right. Right.
Like, the match is going to be dope.
Right.
Already, without any of this. You have Brock turn. You have Cody have his Finn Balor match. You have one time where Cody calls out Brock and they won't let it happen, and Brock stays at the top. And then that's it. You don't need anything else. None of this other stuff is doing anything. This was the same spot again. Go ahead.
That's the thing. That's my Cody problem is how are you going to tell me you're intense without showing me you're intense? But then you show me and you show me the same thing every time. Or if you tell me about your, like, it's repetitive, same level. It doesn't rise to another one that proves to to me as a viewer that you are going above and beyond. Like you said, this is the same exact segment as the week before, where Cody gets stopped by a bunch of guards, except this time he was able to land a punch on Brock first.
Yeah.
So he's willing to fight Brock. No, we understand that. You wanted the match. It's at Backlash. Okay. So what are you showing me now? That you're willing to get at him by any means necessary, and the only thing that can stop you is security guards? Okay, I guess.
You know what would have been cool here, and it would have been a little bit different, is if Cody wasn't in the building. If they showed a video package of Cody at his home gym, and Cody was some sort of trainer from UFC or something, and him being like, look, I've got my match. I'm 1 week away. I'm taking this real seriously, and I'm not, like, I couldn't get to him last time I tried. I get it. They won't let me get to him. So if I can't get to him, I have to be ready when they let me. You know what I mean? Just a simple 2-minute thing like they were showing when he was rehabbing on his way back. You know what I mean? Like just a little.
So here's a misstep on WWE's part. This is something I said on when it happened. Brock Lesnar interrupts the draft. Adam Pearce has guards specifically for Brock Lesnar, and then Cody attacks Brock, and the guards attack Cody instead of removing Brock. You know what I mean? Like the guards were there to remove Brock, and they didn't do anything to him. And then once Brock gets hit, they're like, "Oh fuck it, let's go after Cody instead." I didn't understand that.
Yeah, I didn't get that either. Yeah, and they never, none of them piled up on Brock. It's not like half
they didn't touch
Brock and half went to Cody. They
didn't even touch him. And then Brock just walks away with no guards around him at all. So how are you, if Brock isn't taking any significant damage, then why is it I should believe that Cody is this kind of threat? You know what I mean? Like let's say, because Brock was the one that laid out Cody, right?
Yeah.
So if anything, they would want to keep Brock away from Cody. But if Cody had his chance and he laid out Brock, then I would understand the complete restraint of Cody. You know what I mean?
It does feel a lot like they're saving Cody from himself.
Yes. Yeah. Not that they're saving Brock from Cody. And it's so weird to me but I think we talked about this the last time I was on episode 1, that Cody, I lost it. Cody is, his demeanor is businessman, suit up, all that stuff, right? He's not like they used to say about Shawn Michaels. He has more guts than brains, right?
Yeah.
Cody is presented as all brains. So he's losing it and he's being protected from himself, like you're saying. I don't understand why this switch needs to be protected. It doesn't make sense to me. And I think that's a WWE part, not a Cody part. Yeah.
And I also think that the explanation they would give you on why no one was going after Brock is because Brock was walking away. And the whole point they were there was to get Brock to leave. So he's already on the exit.
Yeah.
Then he's already leaving and Cody's instigating. That would be the reason, right? But it felt a lot like, Cody, you don't want none of that, man. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's probably so what I'm saying is I think that's what they were going for, but that's not what we interpreted. You know what I mean? Justin says it's almost like WWE wants fans to just accept the whole Cody got attacked because Brock was mad he went on first at Mania, but there's no reason why we should accept and believe that explanation, especially given that Brock hasn't said 2 words. The fact that was like a rumor that fucking what Corey said he had heard or something on commentary one time, and also makes no sense and is stupid because we've also heard Brock demands to go on first.
Yes. If he's not going to main event, put me on first so I can get the fuck out of here. That's been said on TV.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what said at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Oh,
when him
Paul
and Seth.
Heyman. Yeah, when him and Seth, Paul came out.
Yes.
Hey, look, just got out of a meeting. Brock wants to be first, so here he goes. So you're saying that Brock wanted to main event WrestleMania with Omos? That was Brock's gripe, is that his match with Omos wasn't the main event of WrestleMania? Like, it makes no sense. None at all. And there's nothing contextually there. And Cody's intense for no reason, to a degree. I mean, I would say no reason, but you know that the only reason Cody was there was because he's going to be in the main event off TV.
Right.
I don't know who he would have been.
Yeah. And that's a tough one for me to, that's a tough one for me to like sit on, when the show ends with the obvious dark match, I'm like, oh, can you just go off air with story and then have the dark match after? But they go off with the lead into the dark match. You know what I mean?
Sometimes. This one probably did.
Well, no,
this
I'm
one's
saying,
probably a
yeah.
tag match.
I just don't like when it's obvious. That's all.
Well, because we've both been to tapings before. There's been times where it's all like the one of those, the SmackDown after Rumble, the dark match was Charlotte versus Asuka. And it was their main event thing, and there was no talk of Charlotte or Asuka the whole show. So when it was like announced on the like in commercial, stick around, you're gonna get Charlotte versus Asuka. We're all like, what? They didn't even,
right.
Yeah, what the fuck? Okay, like they didn't even. We haven't talked about them in months. I don't know why we're doing it, but it was dope. Who did I see? I saw Roman against I forget his old name, Eric Redbeard, Rowan.
Oh, Rowan,
match once. It was incredible. You know what I mean? Like I saw Roman Corbin one. There was a dark match. Like they do big matches, so it's like, okay, clearly you're going to do some sort of Cody match afterwards. But again, if you do the video package before, and don't even say that he's not there just for the crowd, or say, hey, Cody's coming out, don't worry. Do the video package for the TV where it shows him taking the match seriously and training for it, then cool. But this was like, because I know that the reason they have him there is because he sells tickets. He sells tickets like crazy. They've been doing so good. And I guess that's also why you would say that's why you don't move Roman off SmackDown, because it's doing so well. Why would you rock the horse or whatever they say? Justin says Brock attacking Cody just still makes zero sense. The only way it could have is if Cody had the WWE title. Yeah, that's true too.
Or it's a call from, or if it's a call from Heyman and Roman,
which they've never sent.
Right. So it is one of the two for sure. I just know that based off of history, that if Brock was the first opponent for Cody after he won the title, there would be so many fans disinterested and calling bullshit and saying Vince has to be back in charge and all that shit. It would have fallen so flat, even flatter than this story now.
I'd say it's 50-50 because I don't think that I mean, if I saw that Cody was going into Brock as his first title defense, as much as you go, well, they wouldn't have Cody drop it right away. There'd be a huge, it's fucking Brock Lesnar, dude. You know what I mean? Like it's Brock Lesnar.
Oh, yeah.
The reason, and Sam Roberts, shout out to Sam Roberts, has said his biggest argument about the streak ending is that Brock Lesnar's got more mileage on it than anyone else would have, because they were building him at the time. Brock was actually taking a ton of losses prior to that. That he suddenly became the guy that he could win at any given moment, no matter the thing. And it was ever since then, it was, but it's Brock Lesnar, so they might. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so, especially with Cody being the babyface coming up, if Brock was his first defense, it would be maybe the only defense that you could say, they might take it off him right now just to give him another struggle. You know what I mean? Where if his first defense was against like a Riddle or something, you'd say, or a Jimmy Uso, you'd be like, well, look, he's going to win that match.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I definitely agree with that concept. And it would take a lot of storytelling to convince me that it wasn't another gratuitous win to get this Cody character so much bigger than beating Roman. But that was just from my perspective. I like where this is going because it can give Cody the chance to really build that strength. But again, in this story, he's what the fuck?
Yeah.
All good. But in this particular story, like we had just talked about, it seems like he's more unhinged and possessed with the idea of his retribution attack than actually proving he's the performer. So
all right, everybody take a drink. Technical difficulties. I could hear all the way. Yeah, and I could see that there would be that, but I think that you would feel that way after the match. I think going into the match, there would be at least a part that goes, they could take it off him. And realistically, why not have him lose his first defense against a Brock Lesnar and then have to chase Brock Lesnar for another month or two to get it back? And then he does, and then he becomes over, you know.
I'm curious about one thing too. Because I'm with you.
Championships never happened, but
yeah, right. and I'm with you there too, though. Like there is a chance that they could tell the story because Brock has done phenomenal work by himself over the last 3 years. My curiosity, though, is as good as Brock has been doing, he hasn't held the title by himself because of the Roman story. Not that I want Brock to win this new title, but what does this Brock look like as a champion? And the ability to carry his own weight as champion, because he's carried stories by himself, you know, by himself, as in the character himself. I mean, of course, it was bouncing off of Roman and Paul and even MVP, but he hasn't needed help carrying his end of the bargain. So I wonder what that looks like as champion.
I think as champion, I think you start building towards the rekindling of the Canadian alpha males and bring Sammy back into the mix. I'm just kidding. But yeah, I don't know. The Brock Lesnar thing, I think it would be cool if he did go for the title, just to make it have instant credibility, you know. But I don't know.
Well, two of the names that were rumored to fanfare are on SmackDown with Bobby Lashley and LA Knight. Which
but they
kind of
can't
blows that they won't be a part of it.
Yeah,
that's what I mean.
Part of it.
Yeah.
Also, it's happening in Saudi Arabia, so it can't be Mustafa Ali. So
yeah. Well, no, he fought there. Him and Mansoor had their thing in Saudi.
Oh shit! Yeah. Huh. All right. Well, maybe he's back in the mix. I would say the only thing linking Brock Lesnar to a Roman thing is the fact that they said that he renegotiated his deal to make himself a free agent.
Oh yeah.
Who renegotiates his deal? And there was Paul coming out by himself.
Yeah.
Almost had a match against Jobber, Judgment Day. Oh, dude, Dom. Oh my God, Dom. Go ahead.
No, Justin had commented on the Brock thing, and I just wanted to.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
Brock had the WWE title by himself leading up to the unification match. Yeah.
But it was for the purpose of the unification match. It wasn't for the purpose of him having the title as a reign on its own, like I'm taking on all challengers. It was for the purpose of unifying.
And it was 3 months. It was from day one to WrestleMania. So,
Elimination Chamber. It was less. It was Elimination Chamber because that's when Bobby got knocked out of Elimination Chamber.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
Because Brock won the Rumble, and then so it was February to April.
2 months.
Yeah.
All right. Dom, you got a couple little boos here.
What an understatement.
Dude, he was having to yell into the mic and hope he was being picked up. He couldn't hear himself. You could tell. He could not hear himself. The only other time I've seen that live myself was when we booed Rhonda out of the building in 2019 after Rumble. And the only other time I can think of seeing boos that loud at all was when Elias was talking shit on Seattle's Sonics. But that was, they were booing that. They weren't booing him necessarily.
And Roman the My Yard now after Mania.
Oh, yeah. And after Undertaker.
Yeah.
Tell me what you think about this. I'll be right back.
It was fucking fantastic. And it's interesting that Dom can handle the moment of those boos with the acting chops. It seems that he knows exactly what's happening to him. There's so many people who get booed and get thrown off. They try to rush through their promos when they get cheered or what have you. It's as if this promo was designed for the boos because they know where this level of character is. Freddie Prinze Jr. said on his whatever fucking show that MJF can go out there and read a Dr. Seuss book and have the crowd in the palm of their hand because he's that over. But he's not. Because if he was a heel that was over, then he can manipulate the crowd with his heel tactics as opposed to ironically get booed and cheered when he so chooses. People just love the act as it's presented to him. He's a dick who's the champ, but he gets no unorchestrated responses. Where Dom comes out and he gets these organic boos based off the story that's being told and based off the character that's being presented. And that's some incredible shit because even Roman has his fans that want to see him win. Where Dom, you want to see him perform, but fucking hope he loses. Fucking hope he gets his ass kicked. That's where Dom is as a heel. He's the fucking best heel in the business right now.
Yeah.
Absolute best heel in the business.
I think that Dom's response is actually almost an expose on MJF. When everyone said that MJF's the best heel in the business, then you see Dom go out there and get this. You go, oh, no, that's what a heel looks like. Because, like you said, MJF is the best dick that AEW has to offer. And he's going to be a jerk to people. But it's with a wink. It's with a smile. They show he was doing a meet and greet. He does all these meet and greets. They were showing a meet and greet where he would sign stuff and throw it. And you would just see everyone in the audience like, like he's still being a jerk. Like he's winking every time. And then the more he is the whole you doth protest too much. He's constantly doing interviews with me like I'm not a gimmick. Like this is just who I am. I was real. This is just who I am all the time. Like all the time. It's not with a wink. You go, you just said that with a wink. It's not with a wink, eh? But you winked when you said that, eh?
Right.
Just in time, Dom has generally become one of the best heels. I would say generally and genuinely become one of the best heels.
Yeah. But one of my problems with Cody, right? The whole, what do you want to talk about? He tries to bring us into the character, right? Like he tries to bring us into the story as opposed to tell us the story. And that's the AEW shit that's still on him, right? Wipe that shit off, man. Stop telling me your motives as a person to the character. Tell me the story. And what you get from AEW, especially MJF side of things, is you get the presentation of a TV show. Hey guys, we're all watching this TV show together. Look at our TV show. We're doing the TV show thing. Where when I watch WWE, I'm watching a show that the characters aren't telling me it's a show. Where when you know, like the whole sing along with The Rock back in the day was like, The Rock brought us in a little too far. And I'm not comparing MJF to The Rock at all. But MJF is presented as, look, guys, you're all a part of this AEW show with me. And it's really off-putting because it's not earning the story it's not earning the response for the story because you're telling me there is no story. It's just, this is what the MJF character of this TV show is doing right now. So let's just watch. It's really odd. But what Dom's doing is so fucking incredible because even if you wanted to cheer him, you can't.
No,
you can't.
Dude, and when Rhonda got booed that hard, she cried on TV. You know what I mean? She just didn't know to. And you can see, it's really funny. The first couple times the crowd was really doing that, you could see Balor like looking over to Dom. Are you okay? And he goes, yeah, I'm okay. Like it was just kind of like, you're getting a lot of fucking hate, dude. Are you good? You know?
Yeah.
Because that could be a lot.
And how great was Finn not talking to Dominic? He's like, come on, guys, let him talk. He's got something to say. And it just enhances the booze that way. It's that little fucking, that little fucking extra shovel of coal on the fire to really get it hot, man. It's working perfect. It's working perfect. And here's the thing. I don't even know why I fucking hate him anymore. He lost to his dad. It's like but they're coming out and he's just a dick and you don't like him. Like he's not doing anything.
And you hate him more for
anymore.
losing.
Yes.
Like, good, you did lose, and fuck you too, dude.
Exactly.
Did he get what's coming to him? Kinda, but fuck him.
Right.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, dude, Dom is the best heel in the business because even with those examples we gave, Ronda was hated, but they didn't want people to hate her, and she cried. Dom's hated legitimately. Undertaker and Roman. That's hard to say because Triple H has always said that they knew he was a heel at that time, and they were working it, and so part of it's kind of like they may have known that was coming.
I 1,000% agree with that take. They absolutely knew that shit was coming because all Roman had to say that day, the only line he had written for him was, "It's my yard now."
Yeah,
there was no way he was going to say anything else, and they knew it.
Yep. Yep. Elias, they were booing. I think that was during Elias's where he would get cheers in one town and boos in another, just
Yep.
showing how strong he was as a fucking performer. And that was a sports team thing. This isn't a sports team thing. This isn't a cheap heat thing. This is a genuinely fuck that guy thing.
100% on TV storytelling.
Yep. Yes. Because the other thing is, no one believes for a second him and his dad aren't actually close,
right,
in real life. But everything they've
the
done
only
on TV,
caveat,
guy.
the only caveat is that they were in Texas, so there's a chance that it was extra hot because Texas.
Was that supposed to mean because it's hot in Texas?
No, no. The Guerrero Mysterio pride for those wrestlers could be a little bit more intense. So it's an extra fuck you because we love Eddie and Ray and you're the dick. But still,
but Dom even said he wishes Eddie was his dad. So you think you get cheered?
Yeah.
But yeah, that was kind of raw. Let's talk a little bit about the draft stuff, because we talked about it a little bit before. They drafted NXT Women's Champion Indy Hartwell. They drafted Pretty Deadly. They drafted NXT Tag Team Champions Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. Those are the most interesting draft picks, I think, of all, because those are the ones that you go, oh, they might be shifting some stuff around. Grayson Waller got drafted to SmackDown off TV, which I think was a huge fucking miss. Huge mess up. Did you see the promo he cut?
Oh, it was amazing.
Are you kidding me? If they drafted him on TV and cut to him there and he did that exact thing on TV, he'd be over already. They'd be selling shirts today. Huge mistake.
Do you put the benefit in they're able to tell the story off that promo? They did that on purpose, or are we going with the fact that it was a huge mistake? Because he was basically the end. And he tweeted out a picture today of him wearing a Tom Brady Combine shirt that said GOAT, and Tom Brady was selected 199 overall in the 6th round, which is basically the end of the draft. So there's a chance that either he's smart enough, which I think he is based off of his Twitter game and his ability to get himself over. I think he's smart enough to make this a part of his own story he wants to tell. But there is a chance that they were telling this on purpose.
Yeah, that's sick.
Yeah.
That could be good. And Tom Brady did okay.
He did all right. He did all right. The one thing Justin will always have a better takeover than me is Grayson Waller.
Yes.
Yeah. He is
incredible.
Fucking incredible. Fucking incredible. He is really tapped into who he's supposed to be.
Yep. They also, as I'm looking at it, they drafted Zoe Stark, JD McDonough, Apollo Crews back to Raw. And
Odyssey Jones.
Odyssey Jones got drafted?
Yeah, Odyssey Jones. Indus Shear, the Jinder Mahal faction.
Yep, they got it.
Yeah, Kaden and Katana.
Von Wagner, free agents. Yeah, Kaden Katana drafted. And then on NXT last night, they did a couple things that just kind of like... So at first I was like, this is exciting because we are going to see some fresh blood and it could be cool. On NXT, Indy Hartwell relinquishes their title, which first off was stupid because she fucking breaks her ankle basically in that match. They pulled her out of the match, according to the rumors, and who knows. They were already trying to figure out they were gonna like probably put it on Tiffany. And then Andy's like, no, I can go out there and finish the match. So she goes out there to finish the match. Is this why? So they could draft her? You know what I mean? Like, was that supposed to be the story that they were gonna draft both the champions? Because that's my thought, is why the fuck would you do it? But it also came off as a miss to me because drafting an injured champion who then won't be seen for months is no different than drafting someone who just lost a title match and won't be seen for much.
Well, and why make it 50-50? Because you draft the women's tag champions and the commentary goes, and they're bringing them to SmackDown, where Indy drops her title at the end of the night. If that's why, to your point, why draft the champions if one's going to take the title and the other's not? And also, why would the one not being on main TV not stay in NXT to really pass off the title? Or if she was going to get drafted, have the fucking broken ankle be the reason she loses the match. And just, I mean, I've said this a million times. When it looks like the champion is compromised, show me something as a creative team.
Yeah.
That change the finish on the fly, have the person they're wrestling win, use the injury as the reason why, but now write a new story. What do you got?
Yeah.
Who's next?
Yep.
Just go for it. It's there. Here's a brand new opportunity. Fell into your lap. Give it a shot.
Yeah.
But it's like the best thing they can do. Yeah, the best thing they can do is when Seth Rollins blows his ACL out, doing a house show in Europe. Oh, we need a 3-month tournament to decide who's going to be the champion, so we can figure out how to write the stories. It's stupid.
Yeah, just change it in the match. Yeah, yeah, I agree. You could just have, and even in that specific example, you could have just had Seth lose it there, and then now, I mean, because what was it? Bret Hart won the title off of Ric Flair untelevised in Canada or some shit. And they just showed a little bit of it on Raw. They're like, yeah, this is a new champion that happens. You got to go to live events. You never know what's going to happen. Yeah, if your champion like has that serious of an injury in the match, fuck it, new champ. And then you just explain to people, hey, this shit happened off TV. Oh, well, go to live events. You never know. If something happens, we're going to have to change shit on the fly. That's where it's going to happen. Like, was it AJ or Kevin Owens won the U.S. title at Madison Square Garden off TV? Like, because you can just do that shit. You're here forever, right? But yeah, so we have the NXT Women's Champion, tag champions, and then on NXT, they had Alba Fire and Isla Dawn face Kaden and Katana, 2 drafted tag teams. So you really went from, oh, are they going to drop the titles before they leave, to, well, they're going to be fucked either way now. Like, are you going to come back and do some sort of unification? Are they going to be doing NXT and SmackDown until they lose one of them and then they stop showing up on SmackDown? Like, it's only semi-interesting, but it does feel a little bit like, to me, that my decision to stop watching NXT about a month ago is solidified by stuff like this. When you go, oh, well, what they're doing on TV doesn't even matter, and they're not even able to figure it out on the fly, and then they're still hunkered down on it, and now they're going to do some sort of tournament for the NXT Women's Championship. And I don't know, man. It was just weird. I think they should have dropped it then, called her up. Perfect time. She's injured. She's going to be off TV anyways. Oh, well. But then they also doubled down on the Indy and Dex stuff. Yeah. And then Johnny and Candice are on Raw. So are we going to get the Way over there to as another way to try to get Gargano over because he's not working?
Yeah, it's crazy. And just to the point on the women's tag titles, like, again, the story was that Alba Fire and Isla Dawn were going to, if they win, they're taking the titles to SmackDown. And Vic Joseph said it on commentary. So then why don't you put over Casey and Kaden, have them win, and their after the match promo can be, we didn't want to see these titles. These titles mean so much to us in NXT. We didn't want to see them go to SmackDown. They're staying here for the next group of girls. Yeah. And then you have baby faces, boom. And then you have Alba Fire and Isla Dawn show up on SmackDown and boom, get right into it with Damage Control. And they're the former women's tag team champions in NXT. Like, it's not that difficult, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that would have been good too. Katana and Kaden could have been the baby faces protecting NXT from the witches.
And it re-adds the value to those titles. Yep. Similar to what, I mean, that was Indy's whole promo last night was about how much NXT meant to her and how much the women's title meant to her and why she doesn't want to give it up, but it's also time to move on. So it re-added the value to what she's giving up. And that's just not what's happened with the tag titles. And to your point about the index stuff, we talked about it a little bit before we got on air. The wedding should have been the crescendo of that and then move on. But it always seemed like, how do we get Johnny on TV more? And it's tough, man. So if they go that route again, it's going to suck because everything that Johnny did with Dexter, that didn't go well.
No.
So to bring the women into that, it's not going to be good either. So no offense to them. It's just the Johnny aspect of it. It's not working.
Yeah.
Which is why he didn't get drafted on TV.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm excited to see the OC back as a unit with Meechin. I think that's sick. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff that's about to happen. I think the thing I was down about is just that there were no major moves, but there is a lot of hopeful stuff, and I think that all could have been done with a shakeup. You know,
What do you think about Trish Stratus getting drafted?
I didn't like that.
Does that make any sense for her to be a draft pick?
I didn't like it at all. Unless you're telling me she's back full time. Does that mean that's
because Lita didn't get drafted?
Lita did not get drafted. That sounds to me like while Becky is away, Trish, since she was drafted to Raw, wants a shot at that Raw Women's Championship, and she's going to take that title off of Bianca. And then when Becky comes back, Trish is going to have the belt, and it's going to be the way to get the belt back on Becky. That's what that sounds like to me. Why else would you draft a Hall of Fame legend who's not full time? Why didn't you draft?
Oh yeah, I don't disagree. It's a great point. It makes sense. I just hope that's not the route that they're going. But again, what value does Trish add, especially heel Trish? I don't know what value heel Trish adds to the entire women's division.
No.
Because she's going to come out and get her ass kicked the whole time, or is she going to bury the entire women's division because she's such a strong heel? It just doesn't make sense to have heel Trish.
When are they supposed to have their match? Are they even? Do we know? Becky?
It's not Backlash, right?
I don't think so.
And why has she been off TV? Have they even done a peripheral storyline on that? On why she's not on TV?
Since she got attacked by Trish. She's mopey. Maybe injured.
Right, because she barely got hit. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I really want Becky to come back and trash Trish. Trash Stratus, I call her. Just kidding. I don't call her that. And give her like the what to about like, because Trish saying, you owe me this, you owe me that. I'm a legend. I'm a trailblazer, this and that. And, no one gave a shit before me. And I proved that women could wrestle. And really not just shit on the current generation that people didn't believe, but also you shit on the years of people before you, like the Yolanda Blazes, the Bull Nakanos, who are doing a shitload, the Jacquelines. And I think that Becky could easily make the argument that Trish was the beginning of the Divas era, which was the downfall of women's wrestling that took them decades to repair.
1,000%, dude. I mean, you know what? I don't even think we had a chance to talk about this in episode 1 because we talked about this personally. There's a case to be made that, I mean, at least when I was watching, Lita, more athletic than Trish, tits were smaller, hair was less blonde. Like if it wasn't for Sable, why was Sable over? Was it because she was a wrestler?
No, she barely had matches, and
but it was, well, how do we get tits and ass to get the crowd to roar? Oh, by the way, Trish can do some cool moves too, but she got out wrestled in almost every match. But she was a decent storyteller for sure, and she was a solid athlete. But the appeal was why we had the Bellas.
Yes. Yep. The Bellas came around because Trish made it evident that you could take a model and teach her just enough to where she'll get through the matches. Trish needed Mickie James. Mickie James didn't need Trish as far as the wrestling went. Mickie needed Trish to get seen. Trish needed Mickie to have good matches.
Right.
You know what I mean? Mickie had been wrestling for years before then. They brought in Mickie because she could carry Trish. Like, there's a really cool argument that could be made here, and I'm not trying to underplay Trish as a Hall of Fame legend, but there's a story to be told.
Icon status. She's icon status in wrestling for sure.
Absolutely, and I'm a big fan. And given the chance to meet her, I would definitely meet her. But there's an argument that can be told storyline here that Trish was the beginning of the end, that needed the 4 horsewomen to show up. You needed legacy, you needed passion, you needed the name value of a Flair, you needed the inspiration of an Eddie, of a Foley, and of a Macho Man on women. None of those women said they grew up idolizing Trish Stratus and wanting to replicate her. Bailey told a story on one of her interviews that when she told kids that, or when she told her family she wanted to be a wrestler, they said, "You want to wrestle in mud and oil on TV? You want to have bra and panty matches?" And she goes, no, I want to do what the guys are doing. And they go, "But they don't do that there." She goes, "I want to make them do that there." Like, you needed passion from these women who needed to get around to what Trish's legacy was to make that impact, right? That story could be told. You gave them proof positive blueprint that you could take any model and teach them just enough to sell shirts and get people set. What now? You know what I mean? Like, you never main evented WrestleMania. You were only in 2.
Right.
It took us to change everything. It's not that you built a foundation. We had to destroy the foundation you built to rebuild a new one that women can actually look up to, that little girls can actually look up to. You know what I mean? You have girls out in the audience wearing Bianca braids. You never had girls out in the audience wearing Trish fake tits.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Right. No, it's a fantastic point, and it's not even to minimize Trish to that particular asset of hers, but that was the character presentation that she had. That was
and that's just the story I'm saying is available.
Character value. Yeah. The story that was there. I mean, yeah, Bianca's character work is going to be iconic. She is going to be one of the greatest WWE performers of all time. Bianca will be. She's going to have flaws in her game as well, as all do in some aspect, but there's going to be generations of women that become performers that will look back on Becky and Charlotte and Sasha and Bailey as the reason women's wrestling exists. Because there's a chance that it ended with the Divas era. You know, they went from what was the hashtag? Let women wrestle from the Bellas.
Give Divas a chance.
Give Divas a chance. It wasn't from the
right?
Bellas. Okay,
that's total Like, I mean, that's what they say because that's what was happening. But I think the big part of history that's I don't know, just omitted is the
Bellas brought it to TV, right?
Brought what to TV? Give Divas a chance?
Yeah.
No, they brought it to Twitter, but what here's how it actually played out. That Sunday or Saturday, there was an NXT pay-per-view event called Revival, something like that, and it was a fatal 4-way match. Who do you think was in that main event in the fatal 4-way? Sasha, Bailey, Becky, Charlotte. That was the main event of a pay-per-view with the women given time. The next night on Raw, the Bellas were in a 30-second match where they went out there, they did their finish, and they left. And it started a trending hashtag, Give the Divas a Chance, because of what they'd seen on Sunday. Gotcha. Not because of what was presented to them on Monday. Not because everyone said the Bellas can do what that was, but they said, we don't know if they can. It was really give the women a chance to show us what they can do because we just found out they know how to wrestle over there. You know what I mean?
Right.
The four horsewomen don't get credit for that tag, that hashtag, but no one was clamoring for more Bellas.
Right.
Necessarily. It wasn't that the Bellas had done so much that they said, give them more TV time. They just said, we didn't know that women are trained to do this. We just saw them do it in NXT. I want more of that. And if that's what they can do on the main roster, let's let them do it on the main roster. You know what I mean? Here's what they do with time. Can they do it here with time? It wasn't because they were proven. It's because we didn't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair. Absolutely. No, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. And that's the thing. So, to the Trish of it all, the inspiration for the following generation of women's wrestlers was Trish. And the break the ceiling moment was when PCB was called up. Or not PCB, when Paige... Fuck, I did it again. When Charlotte, Sasha, and Becky were all brought up.
Yep.
That was the beginning of what we have today, for sure. That was the glass ceiling broken through. Because the glass ceiling was Divas. okay promos and always about what the eyes are looking at, as opposed to, holy shit, this match is awesome.
Yes. And it's not even a stretch to say that to date, I mean, you could say easily the best match that Nikki Bella ever had was her title shot match against Charlotte, where she lost. I think since then, she's had a couple matches that were pretty solid because she started to train with those women to get that good. But those women came in better. You know what I mean? But yeah, in up to that point, that was the best match that Nikki ever had. And people go, oh, look at how good Nikki is. And I was like, no, Charlotte carried Nikki a lot then because Charlotte didn't have the ego she has now. But that was the turning point, was that call up. So but yeah, also as I think about it, if they did Rhea and Bianca, then they're probably going to do a title swap on SmackDown. So maybe you don't have Trish take the title. But I can't figure out why else you would possibly, because you're not going to have Rhea without the title.
Right. And how would Trish beat Rhea?
And then Trish can't beat Rhea. That'd be stupid.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, Rhea can make it look good, but only so much of it.
Well, I mean, and also, I mean, it'd be fine. I just think it'd be stupid for Rhea. Not that it would be bad for Trish.
Oh,
Becky, but it would also be obvious. It would be like when they put the tag titles on Becky and Lita. It was stupid and obvious, and everyone went, "Oh, okay." And now we're at where we're at with all that. So,
no, that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, anything else that was going on that you wanted to talk about?
No, I was wondering about your overall take when it came to how much NXT talent got drafted this time, because it wasn't 2 or 3. It felt like a lot. And that's kind of my only like, I can't wrap my head around, right? Like, Akira Tozawa gets drafted, Humberto and Angel get drafted, a plethora of NXT talent gets drafted. What are they going to do with these people? Is this them challenging themselves to build these shows now that we have these new talents everywhere? Or are they going to go with, the hits, have Braun and Ricochet have a match every single week, and then Odyssey Jones never gets a chance? Like, are they going to challenge themselves and build new shows with these new talents? I'm excited for that opportunity. We just never seen that before.
I think it means that they're going to bring back the 24/7 title.
That's it?
That's it, because that's the only reason you need 30 more people. They just signed Bluebirds in the chat saying they just hired an Olympic gold medalist woman. That was the same woman who walked out with
Gable, right?
Gable at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
I don't know if that means anything at this point. Not only was Gable signed like 2 years ago, he made like 2 appearances, then he got drafted to Raw, and then we never saw him. So I don't know that. Yep. I don't know at this point if I can be as excited. Sort of like what you and I talked about 2 weeks ago on episode 1. There's a certain funk in the air right now of not getting the payoffs. You know what I mean? When the opportunity is there, missing the moments. Was it the right time? Was it not the right time? That's always a conversation. But at the end of the day, the air's out of the room. And so you hire an Olympic gold medalist and the air's already out of the room, because the last time you did it, we all got real excited. And then what?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
yeah, I agree. And that's why I like the idea, like I said, of all these new talents up here, but can I trust them to tell me that story? And I don't know. I think
there's going to be a few undeniables. I think Grayson Waller is going to float to the top. I think that Odyssey Jones has a lot of potential to do something big, but at the same time, Xia Li was drafted to Raw. We never even saw her at SmackDown except for lose a couple matches, and she's got so much potential.
That's the thing, right? So who's Odyssey Jones going to work with to get that polishing, right? Like, everything I saw from him in NXT, I go, there's potential. It could happen. He moves really well for a guy his size. He's incredibly charismatic. His gear is awful, but there's something there.
Yep. I think you put him with Gargano, and
And they
I think
feud Strowman and Ricochet.
Yeah, and Tozawa, and then maybe Shelton Benjamin, and then he's good to go.
Hi, Amanda.
Yeah, Miss Amanda Jane coming through, trying to do her best Grim Reaper impression. Hello. Yeah, that's how Grim Reaper talks. Yeah, I mean, I'm excited by the potential. The fact that they drafted several women's tag teams makes me really hopeful that they might actually do something in this tag team division. But after what we got leading into WrestleMania and stuff, there's a lot of stink on those belts. And then the fact that the champions just lost to Damage Control for no reason, a lot of stink on that belt, and it's frustrating because I've talked about it time and time again. This should be their mid-card title that puts over 4 women at a time. This should be easy to make stories and have something else for women to fight for on these pay-per-views. I love the design of the belt. I think it's beautiful. I bought the replica almost as soon as it was available. I thought it was such a stunning belt. And here I am just wondering when I'm going to be able to pull it out again and not think it's stupid. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
right. What do you think of Edge going to SmackDown? Do you think that does anything for him?
I think it's fine. I don't know that I think he's exhausted everything he was going to do on Raw, and nobody he already worked with everybody on Raw he was going to, and none of them got drafted to anywhere else. So if you want Edge to tell any new story, he's got to go to SmackDown. Otherwise, you're rehashing all the same shit.
And 2 other surprises. No mention of Bray Wyatt. Not even on the free agency stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I guess 3. Baron Corbin, a free agent as well. So maybe that's going to play into the nobody wants me thing. But also, finally, Cameron Grimes gets called up.
Yeah.
Same brand as LA Knight. Do you think that's where they start and they kind of get some of that magic back and really get people invested into the 2 of them right off the jump?
I hope not. I really think you shouldn't, because LA Knight's getting too over unless you really need him as a heel.
Gotcha. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Makes sense. Yeah.
Because Cameron Grimes is going to be kind of beloved, I think. He's too fun.
Well, even if he's like, let's just say people are stale on him, right? To start. Cooling off LA Knight to be the heel to raise Cameron Grimes just doesn't make sense. Keep the trajectory of LA Knight where it's going with the fanfare, because all you're going to do is bury Cameron Grimes. And can he play that side as an antagonist to LA Knight? It's just not the right timing for it. I agree with you.
I was going to say that best case scenario, you cool off LA Knight to help get Cameron Grimes over. Worst case scenario, no one gives a shit that it's Cameron Grimes, and you completely bury him under the mountain that is LA Knight.
Yeah.
And his current rise. So I would keep them apart. I could see them being allies. You know what I mean? I could see them tagging from time to time, but not as like a full-on tag team, I don't think. But we'd see. Amanda James says she'd like to see Edge and LA Knight. Yeah, why not? Yeah, I think it'd be great, actually. They could do have a lot of good stuff together. But yeah, I don't know what you do with Cameron Grimes over there. I don't know who he works with. Maybe you do Cameron Grimes and Grayson Waller. That could help elevate both of them pretty quick. Especially with the U.S. title over there, you could have Austin Theory as another heel in that mix too. And
I mean, I think you got to put Waller as close to Austin Theory as quick as possible. I mean, he did great work. Well, I don't care. I mean, Waller's that high. He is that up there. He is that. Like, there's no point. My point is, there's no reason to build him from the bottom of the card. You know what I mean? He is ready for the middle of the pack. He can start the 9 o'clock hour with a promo, and here we go.
Yeah, but he's also got a chip on his shoulder and willing to burn the thing. I think you could have a great program with Cameron and Grayson that elevates both of them quick.
Yeah, that's true.
And if they're both gunning for Theory, and Theory's like, you guys fight it out and figure it out, and then we end up with a triple threat somewhere along the line, having 2 heels and a babyface, not a bad way to go about it.
Yeah, you could probably strengthen both characters while getting support for their wrestling ability. I can see that. Yeah.
I think they would get over quick that way. And I hope that hope Gargano's watching all these talent get over. Being serious. All right, man. Let's have last call. Let's get out of here. Let's shut down the bar. Miss Amanda Jane's going nuts over there. She's going to bring up Ricky in a second, I think. She says, well, it's something big. She's going to be like Coulter.
Who's that guy she stands behind? The fake Undertaker? Was
Abyss?
No, the
Burger
guy
King?
you don't like. No, the guy you don't like. That she likes a lot.
I don't like most of the guys she likes.
That's
What are you talking about?
hysterical.
Who's the fake Undertaker?
Isn't he on ROH?
Man, I don't watch
Or
ROH. I mean,
Impact?
ROH is bad.
Or Impact? Or
Oh, PCO?
no, not that.
Oh,
Who's the
'cause I like
fucking? I stand with what's his name?
Oh,
Or
Joe
whatever.
Hendry.
Yeah, that fucking guy.
Yeah.
Isn't he a
He's not
fake Undertaker?
No, he's like a fake Mustafa Ali, dude. Doing that
Even better.
positivity thing. It was ridiculous.
And can she stop bringing up Marty Scurll? He's not coming back, and when he does, just be surprised that he does. And by the way, she would know because she fucking talks to him whenever she wants to. So we don't need to fucking. And you know what I'd love to see? Yes, we know you'd love to see fucking Colt Cabana wrestle fucking Marty Scurll and Ricky Starks in triple threat match. We fucking get it, okay?
Yeah, we don't. It's not an important. It's not part of what we're watching for sure. But I think tomorrow we are going to be doing some watch along stuff. So you can come by, check out me and Miss Amanda Jane. She's going to pick some matches. I've already told some matches we cannot watch. And then I was watching MLW before I got on here, so I'm going to finish that, and I'm going to watch Impact because Trinity's over there now, and I can't wait to see more of that. And I was looking up their tickets; they're cheap, dude. If Impact's ever in anybody's area, they don't travel far, but they stay in Ohio.
Are they still based in
Chicago?
Oh, they're not in Florida anymore.
No, they're
they're
Chicago and Ohio.
Yeah, I say
Ontario, Canada.
Yeah, Canada's their operations.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
cool. Awesome.
Yep. So I think we're gonna wrap it up there. You can find him TW Takes Podcast. You guys are on the platforms, right?
Just Twitter and the website at TWTakesPodcast.com at TWTakesPodcast on Twitter.
Awesome. Then we will be back here tomorrow night for brand new episode 1. Guys, that's last call.
Cheers.
Hey, producer lady here. Thanks for tuning in. Continue to support us or buy us a drink by following and putting the I in subscribe on Twitch. Or subscribe and review our podcast on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to us. Cheers!
I would never have a drink with wrestling on the rocks.